Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
In an almost deserted stadium, and in bright summer sunshine, Pompey's penultimate friendly against an often sturdy Reading 11 turned out to be a walk in the park. Pompey showed up in their turquoise, Reading in ivory and grey hoops. The Pompey starting lineup offered some indication of what Pompey's starting lineup might be for our first real match against Oxford in 2 weeks. Schmidt, Williams, Shaughnessy, Paul and Ogilvie across the back, Pack and Duzzelebe holding midfielders. In front of them Josh Murphy, Callum Lang and Adrian Sagachik. Colby Bishop up front in the number 9 shirt. It took Pompey 3 minutes to take the lead when they surprised Reading when fullback Jordan Williams overlapped and became Pompey's central striker, running onto a pass and poking it into the net. Lang added a second assisted by Josh Murphy, before a standout 10 minutes of sheer worry whilst Colby Bishop, who took an elbow to the head, received treatment in the Reading penalty area. Having resumed, Bishop made it 3-0 before half-time. Pompey took to the field for the second half with the same 11 they had started, but after Colby Bishop made it 4 with an assist inevitably by Josh Murphy, John Messino began to ring the changes big time. Giving a run out to Jacob Farrell, Iwan Boat, Zach Swanson, Terry Devlin and Hayden Matthews, the man on trial Nathan Ferguson also saw action for the bulk of the second half. The game remained playing at a steady pace, and the only highlights of the second half besides Bishop's second goal was an altercation between Zach Swanson and Reading Savage, and John Swift failing to convert a sitter, although to be fair the keeper guessed right and pulled off a memorable save. It finished Reading 0, Pompey 4.
Well, Pompey Sound says well done to the faithful who made the journey and paid their money and were heard, supporting Pompey and the Pompey chimes and all the noises that we know that they make so well. So well done them. Some of the rest of us watched on the cut price Pompey Plus service, which gave us a very inadequate piece of coverage with no replays and with 2 guys wittering who were very Reading, one of whom was clearly an ex-Reading player who took a message from, and he mentioned it on air, I think it was Tom McIntyre who used to play for Reading, and saying, "You're sending me to sleep, bud." And they were. It was pretty hopeless, pretty amateurish. But then again, it was only a friendly. So how much do we care about friendlies? Well, a lot of people who support Pompey cared enough to go. So some people care. They want to be there, even if it's only a... Tell you what it was like this new walking football that old people play, where they blow up for a foul if you break into a run. It was a bit like that. The crowd was non-existent, apart from the Pompey. They made no noise whatsoever. They were scattered around a small to medium-sized stadium. The sunshine was bright, and there's always something slightly not quite right about football being played in England in bright sunshine. It means it must be a pre-season friendly, and it was, or a very early in the season game, which you do get. Pompey bossed the whole thing from start to finish. If you saw it, if you were there, or if you watched on TV, or even if you just catch the highlights somewhere, if Pompey are publishing the highlights on their website, it was a stroll in the park. Neither side really had to break into a sweat for Pompey to win 4-0, could have been 6 or 7. We went ahead in the 3rd minute when Jordan Williams got forward. This is very much the coming thing with Messino teams. Everybody plays everywhere, and if it's a fullback who ends up being your furthest forward attacking player, then he gets the ball. And it certainly comes as a big surprise to the defenders to see that the right back is now threatening them. They've come off their defensive positions to cover Colby Bishop. This is what happens. They've come off their positions, so there's space behind them. And Pompey found Williams. Williams did really well to outpace and shrug off a defender. He took 2 yards off him and was able to just get a nice toe poke in and make it 1-0. And then, inevitably, Callum Lang, the most talked about Pompey player of the last couple of weeks. There's a couple of stories going around that he may have earned himself an extended or more lucrative contract as a result of his exploits last season, but also the interest that's being shown in him by other clubs allegedly. And so conspiracy theorists will quickly fall on that and suggest that the person who put around the rumour that Preston had bid for him was somebody connected with him trying to up his negotiation muscle. Don't know about any of that. What I do know is that it was Murphy who provided the service that got Lang's goal. Colby Bishop, of course, tapped one in, of course, and we went in at half-time 3-0 up. At half-time, Swift came on for Callum Lang and was so keen to get a goal that he almost tried too hard in front of goal. He had two opportunities. One was 50-50. The other one really was almost nailed on. And he just got unlucky because he did everything right with the strike. He only had the keeper to beat. And the ball was exactly where he wanted it. The keeper kind of guessed right. And, you know, sometimes that happens. That won't damage his confidence because one thing we know about him is that he's a complete professional and he understands these things. So no problems there. And then they came out for the second half, unchanged. I think the commentators had no idea what was going on. No information could they give us. Nobody was holding up boards with substitutions or anything. You had to work it out yourself. And on a laptop screen, it's not easy to identify players straight away. But it looks as though they started with the same 11 in the second half that they started in the first half. And then Colby Bishop went and made it 4 with an assist by, guess who, obviously, Josh Murphy. And then Musino started to ring the changes and give a welcome run out to some people who need to feel what it's like to be in the blue shirt, playing the way that Musino wants. So the young Aussie at left back, Farrell, got a game, or at least just under half of a game. Iwan Boet, that was the first glimpse we've had of him on the pitch wearing a Pompey shirt, albeit the turquoise. And he looks good. He looks solid. He looks capable. You wouldn't argue with him. He's fast. He does the right thing. He knows what the right thing is. He knows what the right Pompey thing is, it seems. So, big tick there. Zach Swanson, we always like to see him come on. We're bringing him on. He's becoming more and more authentic as the weeks turn into months, turn in now to seasons. Who else got a run out? Terry Devlin played where he wants, of course, which is where John Messina wants him to play. But the fans, we've all started to notice that he is the front runner of Pompey's new total football style. Matthews got a game. Always good to see him out there because he is a real prospect and a proper threat to Shaughnessy and Paul. And that's when we need that. And Nathan Ferguson was out there. Now, he's very robust and very solid and quick and competent. He's a pro footballer. If he can keep himself fit, he's an asset. But he's still a trialist. He was wearing a shirt that doesn't have it had a number, but it was a number that's not been allocated to anybody. So what kind of a spectacle was it? Well, frankly, and I know you shouldn't say this, the handbags between Swanson and Savage was possibly the most interesting part of the game. That two players who are in a friendly, it doesn't matter, there's nothing hanging on it, nothing at all. I don't think there'll be any bonus money if you win a friendly. There was nothing hanging on it at all apart from personal pride. And Swanson cared and Savage cared. And they had a little, handbags. It was just handbags. I don't think anybody grabbed anybody's shirt or anything like that. It was just a standing up to each other. And then I think Terry Devlin ran in and did that kind of thing that footballers do, which is kind of calm down, calm down. But he's actually saying calm down more to Robbie Savage. Not Robbie Savage, the boy Savage. Than Zach Swanson. So he was part of the handbags, but he was able to act as though he was a peacemaker. And then a couple of other turquoise shirts came in and kind of said, hey, calm down, it's only a friendly. A couple of Reading shirts kind of did the same thing. The referee then made a little bit of a meal of it because that's what they do. It's their moment in the sun. They get to pull the two players to me. come to me. You go away, you go away. You two come to me. Come to me. You go away, you go away. You come to me. And they did all that, and then he gave them a yellow. Now, if there is a talking point from this game, apart from the fact that it was a walk in the park for Pompey, they looked 3 tiers better than Reading. But as I said, no one broke into a sweat, so what have you learned? But the yellow cards that they received, what do they count? Do they count once the season begins? Is Zach Swanson starting the season with a yellow card against him? I don't know. You don't know. John Messina will have to look it up. Zach Swanson certainly won't know. I haven't got a clue. If it turns out he starts with a yellow card, it's a bit of an own goal. But anyway. And John Swift missed a sitter. It was a sitter. It was the second chance in the move. One of the Pompey players, and I couldn't see who it was. It was all a flash, all a blur, and the commentators couldn't name names. Had an opportunity. They were very, very scarce at the back, Reading. We had a lot of occasions when there were 2 or 3 Pompey forwards in goal-scoring positions, and the ball came in and got to them. But I think it was blocked by the keeper, the first effort, but blocked into the path of John Swift. And he had himself pretty much an open goal. There weren't any defenders harassing him or hurrying him up. He struck it exactly right, and the keeper just pulled off one of those miracle saves that you get from time to time. And he won't. And the thing is, he won't be disappointed by that. He will not be affected by that. He's looking for his first goal, because prior to that, in the second half, he had a good old pop at goal from about 25 yards with, as I remember, his left foot, and it curled in the right way, but it ballooned about 6 feet over the bar. The Pompey fans, I remember hearing, gave it a warm round of applause and a cheer. So he's already starting to feel that support that Pompey fans now are particularly famous for giving. It doesn't matter what you do, what the outcome is, you're doing it on our behalf, and we love you for it, and we thank you for it. So, yay, well done. Putting it 6 feet over the bar, but at least you had a go. And we do like it when Pompey players have a shot. So, there we are. That's one man's take on a good result. Pompey's friendlies so far have worked out very, very well indeed. One more to come now against the Dutch side, and then it's all for real. But so far, so good.
Pompey's 2 new signings have been talking to the press.
When did new signing Luc Leroux first learn Pompey were interested?
Probably 2-3 weeks now. My agent informed me about it, and then we had a meeting with the head coach and sporting director, and one meeting was all it took. I don't think anyone can come out of that meeting and not want to join Portsmouth. So it was really a successful meeting, and now I'm here, really happy.
New signing John Swift is doughy-eyed about his return to Portsmouth.
It's quite exciting to be one of the ones that's going to play at Fratton Park in front of the crowd when they're backing you, and to see how that feels, and to try and put on a performance every week, especially at home, because I think that's where we're probably going to pick up most of our points. Just the whole thing about Portsmouth, to be honest, just as soon as it come up into talks about me potentially coming back this way, it was all I could think about, really. And it's like I said, they're on the up. Great team, great manager, great facilities, great stadium, great fans, great city.
Luc Leroux on his journey in football so far.
I started playing football at the age of 4. Started playing in Stellenbosch. I'm born and raised in Stellenbosch, so I played for local clubs in Stellenbosch. Then at the age of 17, I actually signed my first professional contract. I moved to Europe at the age of 20, in 2020, and I moved to Sweden. Played 3 years in Sweden. I went 1 year to Netherlands, went back to Sweden 1 year, and now I'm here.
John Swift on his talks with John Messina.
Yeah, they've been good. Yeah, they've been positive. Been exciting. Just when we were chatting just about where I'd potentially play, how he sees me fitting into the team, what he expects from me when I'm playing, when I'm training, when I'm preparing for the games. Just the normal stuff, really, that a manager would normally go through with you. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited. They were good conversations. It was something that I think is quite important before you join, to get the ideas of where you're seen playing come game day and obviously training as well. So, but yeah, I mean every chat I've had with the gaffer has been really positive.
No surprises in what the lads had to say there. There never is in these first interviews. They're delighted to be here. They've been impressed with the facilities and the manager, and of course they're looking forward to playing in front of the fans. All of these things we know, we expect, we quite like to hear still. Yeah, it's kind of music to our ears. It's a familiar tune, but it's music to our ears. What can we discern if we just sort of dig a little bit deeper? Certainly that Luc LaRoux is an extremely sharp, intelligent, eloquent, observant, perceptive individual with a great presence about him in interview. Let's hope he can bring that presence onto the pitch. John Swift, a more thoughtful man, a quieter man, a little bit more reflective perhaps than Luc LaRoux, but nevertheless somebody whose passion, genuine passion, for being at home again and wanting to turn out against another team in the blue shirt at Fratton Park with his family watching, and with those fans that he reveals all clubs when they come to Fratton Park have to gird themselves to face the atmosphere. And he's going to have that atmosphere now on his side, willing him on. Unlike when he came, the one and only time he's played at Fratton Park for West Brom, and they did us. So he doesn't want to go on about that too much. He let slip a little them when he was referring to us in that game. But we forgive him that. So interesting, always interesting to get a bead on these individuals. We're going to get plenty of beads on them when they're playing the game. But it's also nice to get a kind of little picture of who they are with these interviews that don't reveal a great deal unless, as I say, you dig just a little bit deeper and make a few perceptions of your own.